What'll do, eldrvzi Scion? I love Commander, but one of the most challenging elements is deck construction. So the whole point of this video is to show you how I construct my decks and give you a foundation. And let's hop right into our categories. Categories or packages are a concept that I really like using during each one of my deck constructions. Commander, for the most part, is a combination of a numbers game and luck. And if you want to make sure things are a little bit more consistent, utilize these 4 categories. Included in my packages are ramp, draw or card selection, targeted removal or bombs, and last but not least, synergies and payoffs. I often make the joke that this game is called Nuance the Gathering, so obviously I know there's some caveats that you can allot for when it comes to making these various like categories and packages, but this for me is at least like the baseline that your deck needs to actually function. And starting us off, we have the ramp category. It is a crucial topic. It allows you to get around the 1 land a turn clause and comes in many forms, from land tutors like Kadama's Reach and Rampant Growth to mana rocks and dorks like Soul Ring and Elvish Mystic. I usually like to stay at or above 10. You can change out depending on your mana curve or the average mana cost across your entire deck. You can change it up depending on that or your commander and the tools that they allow, like Azusa Lost But Seeking, who simply allows you to play more lands a turn. I mentioned earlier that Magic has some math involved, and of course luck. Now with 10% of your deck being ramp, it'll just show up any of those inconsistencies that your deck would normally have, so it's beneficial in the long run, so that way you're able to cast all those fun spells you have. There are a lot of fun cards that we jam into our decks, and we deserve to see those cards. And although these topics are slightly different, they are one and the same. Card selection usually involves top deck manipulation like Scry, Surveil, or Cantrips that help progress your game forward. In the same vein, we have card draw that puts it directly into your hand like Beast Whisperer or Sign in Blood. I usually let people know that for every 2 card selection pieces, it equates to 1 piece of draw because selection doesn't really put you ahead. And as far as the number of those that you should have inside of your deck, I usually recommend anywhere from 10 to 15, and that's of course to allot room for your commander once again. So if you have a commander like Sithis Harvest Hand who allows you to get cards whenever you cast an enchantment, you can reduce that number down. And moving over to everybody's favorite topic now, we have removal and bombs. Now, I'm not a big proponent for yucking anyone's yum, but sometimes you have to be the hall monitor that takes their job a little too seriously. Targeted removal comes in many forms like instants and sorceries like Crossing Grip and Anguish Unmaking, to creatures like Cityscape Leveler and Rabbit Chupacabra. These allow you to get rid of individual threats from the battlefield during vital times. I recommend running at least 8 of these, and of course you can lessen this if your commander has the ability to fill in the gap like General Kudro of Draenor. In that same vein, we have bombs that are very similar to targeted removal, but on a larger scale of course. They encapsulate non-creature removal like Planar Outburst, or strictly creature removal like Damnation, or do a little bit of both like Austere Command. And as far as my number recommendation, I usually like to sit in between 2 or 3 bomb, and of course, say it with me, you can adjust it based on your commander. And now we're bringing it home with synergies and payoffs. Think of synergies as an engine. You can have all the parts, but if they aren't connected and working together, they're just a pile of trinkets and gauges. Synergies can be included in each one of these categories, hence why I haven't given a number at all. It connects the idea of utility and tempo. And although ubiquitous cards are good like Generous Gift, Soul Ring, Command Tower, if your commander is geared towards a certain idea like Tavasa the Sunlit, I would recommend Imprison on the Moon, Sanctum Weaver, and Urza Saga over those cards because it directly benefits what your deck wants to do. As for your payoff, your deck should be working towards a goal or an endgame. This can be in the form of win cons or win conditions like Crater of Behemoth or Approach of the Second Sun, to even cards like Zulaport Cutthroat that helps reduce life totals over the course of the game. Sometimes though, it's something as simple as a strategy as opposed to a singular card, because if you have 5 10-10 creatures, that is now your payoff, and a very scary one at that. This is the category though that I didn't want to put an actual number on because it's more of something that you need to gauge as you develop, but you want to make sure that these are included inside your decks. And now we're in our closing. We touched on all the components I use to make all my decks, and we discovered the reasoning behind them. Let me know if you find any of this useful, and tell me your favorite categories. As always, thank you all for your time. Feel free to drop a like, share, and subscribe, and take care.